What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Kari, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish. You may notice if you follow me on Twitter, usually about 10 minutes after a sneakers draw is over, normally I'll either complain or a lot of people on the timeline may start complaining about the fact that they yet again didn't get another sneaker, another L on another day on that app. And honestly, in its own interesting way, we've kind of developed a community of people. Community is a big thing that remains at the center of sneakers, especially for me these days. Everything that I do, I always think about how's this impacting the community. Well, there's a new community that's been popping up lately and making a lot of noise and a whole lot of money that promises the same thing, except this time you gotta pay for it. Today, I wanna talk about SoleSavy. I wanna talk about the company. You guys may already be kind of familiar with it. Some of you may even be members. And before I get started, I wanna give this disclaimer that I'm not necessarily trying to encourage or persuade people to do one thing or another. I'm here strictly to give you guys the facts, and sometimes the facts aren't that pretty, and other times the facts are hidden from you to try to persuade you to do something that had you known more about it or known a little bit better, maybe you wouldn't have made that decision. So I just want to give that disclaimer. Let's get into it. I want to go through a little bit of the history of SoleSavy, and then I want to talk about where they are today and what they're currently promising and doing, and what their outlook looks like for the future as well. So we're going to kind of take it in that 1, 2, 3 step. First things first, what exactly is SoleSavy? Now, like I mentioned, they're a community that promises you a better shot at being able to get sneakers that you have not been able to get your hands on. That's really at the core of what they are. Now, there's a lot of things that are around SoleSavy as well, and we'll kind of break those things down, but that's really what they are. They're a community of people that's designed to help each other get sneakers with certain tools that they utilize that they promise will give you a better shot, not a guarantee, but a better shot at getting sneakers these days. Now, the company was founded by two partners. First partner is Dion Pralica. Now, Dion has actually been the face of the brand. His co-founder, really, you don't see him too much, but Dion has been the one pitching SoleSavy in a lot of venture capitalist meetings, talking to a lot of people behind the scenes, making a lot of connections, securing a whole lot of bags of money. And I have my reasons why I think he's the face of the company, but for the sake of time today, I'll just leave that where it is, but I'll put his picture up here and I'll let you guys decide for yourselves. Now, Dion's claim to fame is that he's the owner of Kicks Deals. If you guys remember Kicks Deals from years ago, that used to be a Twitter account, and I don't know if they had an app or not, I'm not sure, but basically what Dion would do is he would scour the internet looking for the best deals on shoes all around the internet. So he learned very early on how to scour the internet and condense that information into one place. But because he got frustrated with not being able to get certain releases, he decided that he wanted to do something different because he knew that there were a lot of people that felt the same way that he did. Enter in the co-founder of the company. Now, the co-founder's name is Justin Dusange. I hope I'm not messing that name up. I know that people are big on their names and I apologize, but he is of Indian descent and also based in the Vancouver, Canada area. Now, Justin coming into SoleSavy, I believe, was extremely calculated and very strategic. He has a specific role, and if you want my opinion, that role is securing product. Here's what I mean. According to Justin's LinkedIn page, his previous role, literally up until he came on with SoleSavy, was being director of operations for a company called New Age Sports. Now, New Age Sports was actually the name of a company that had a DBA, or a doing business as name, of Nike. So basically, he was in charge of all these different Nike stores and overseeing all of this product. Now, the funny thing about that company, New Age Sports Inc., is that it's owned by his father, Paul. Not only that, but there's also someone else, I'm not sure if it's a brother, a cousin, someone in the bloodline with the same last name, named Jordan. And according to his LinkedIn page, he's currently director of operations for Nike Vancouver. So with having a father that's in charge of all of these Nike stores, having someone else in your bloodline that's director of operations for Nike Vancouver, and you yourself overseeing all these operations for all these Nike stores, chances are he's able to get his hands on a lot of product. Now, stick a pin in that because we're gonna get back to that in just a little bit. But needless to say, that was who was brought in as the co-founder for SoleSavy along with Dion. So these two guys together comprise the main founders. SoleSavy is based in Slack, and the first question that I really had about that was, why are they using Slack instead of Discord? But I looked it up and I realized that Slack is really designed for companies to have more control than the members of the community have, as opposed to Discord, where there's a lot of different rules rules here that are very, very loose when it comes to member interactions and oversight from the owners of those groups. So it makes sense why they would go to something like Slack, where they can do things like look at DMs and they can look at certain messages, things that you may not have the same ability to be able to do in Discord. But the community is pretty much based in Slack, and within Slack there are different Slack channels. Each one is dedicated to a different piece of their community. Now, the thing that's unique about SoleSavy is that, like I mentioned, they're built on 3 different pillars, and within their community, their core community, they're dedicated to not only fighting back against the resale complex, which we'll talk about a little bit as well, but also giving people the same tools that botters and other resellers are using to try to give them a leg up when it comes to securing their favorite releases. I actually watched the entire pitch that Dion actually made to a launch accelerator program that actually was one of the early investors of SoleSavy, to really look at how he breaks down exactly what the company is doing. So I categorize the company in 3 different pillars. You have content, community, and commerce. Those are really the 3 main things that SoleSavy provides to its members for a fee of either $33 a month if you want to do a monthly rate, or you can sign up for an entire year in advance, which really helps the company more than it helps the members, in my opinion, for $300. So to make sure I give you guys the most accurate representation of SoleSavy, I actually signed up for the service myself. I didn't want to just generalize and speculate on what I thought the group was. I wanted to actually go in and experience it for myself, especially when a lot of other big names in sneaker YouTube were actually doing interviews with Dion over and over again, and he was singing the praises of SoleSavy. And there are a lot of videos out there now about how to beat the bots and how to secure the sneakers you want for retail and things like that. And so I figured with that kind of a blitz all over YouTube, maybe I was the kind of person that Dion was talking to join. So I signed up. Now, the interesting thing about the way that I signed up is that there's supposed to be a wait list that sniffs out people that are perceived as resellers. One of the main rules in SoleSavy is that there is no reselling allowed whatsoever. There's no botting allowed and there's no reselling allowed. The big pull for that is that they want real sneakerheads to enjoy their sneakers without dealing with the nonsense of resale and botting and all the other things that they feel like poisons the community of sneakers. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, so let me finish the story about how SoleSavy actually got started, then we'll jump back into my experience with it. So SoleSavy begins to grow, and not only that, but they're actually pitching to a lot of VCs that really don't know anything about sneakers. As a matter of fact, on certain investing websites, when they're starting to talk about SoleSavy and do those press releases inviting people to join the seed round or the Series A round of their funding, they literally said, based on the value position, this may actually intrigue somebody not even remotely interested in sneakers, but just because there's a chance to make a lot of money. The problem that we've been seeing in sneakers lately is that as companies like StockX and GOAT and all these other companies, Supreme, get taken over by these huge conglomerates, and all these venture capitalists and these millionaires and billionaires start getting involved with these companies that really started from our kind of niche kind of subculture, they kind of get perverted into these money-making machines where the people that are now running the scenes behind it and pushing the buttons don't really care about the culture. They really only care about the money. And it's working for a lot of people out here, because obviously GOAT is worth X billion dollars and StockX is now worth 3-point-something billion dollars, and even SoleSavy just secured a $12.5 million Series A round of funding. But how did they get that $12.5 million? They started off by getting a lot of angel investors. Now, the funny thing about this company is that they actually started raising money during their seed round from different investors right at the beginning of the pandemic, and a lot of people didn't really know what was about to happen. And as Dion likes to put it, a lot of people told him no for the first few months while he was trying to raise his money. But what ended up happening was 2 things, in my opinion. Number one, Nike really doubled down on their direct-to-consumer initiative and really started pumping out a lot more product online. And naturally, as the pandemic shifted, because all the stores were shut down, a lot of products started getting shifted online instead of raffles and in-store pickups. As a result of that, everybody was trying online to get sneakers, which only amplified bot usage and resellers that were flexing stacks of boxes in all of their Instagram photos. That was the perfect opportunity for SoleSavy to swoop in and start scooping up a lot of people that's saying, hey, you're tired of taking L's online? You're sick of taking L's on the sneakers app? Come join SoleSavy. We have everything that you need in order to secure you the W. And it's only gonna cost you $33 a month or $300 a year. Dion actually ended up securing about 25 different angels before going in for the big money, with his old accelerator actually doubling down on their investment, and he raised $2 million in his seed round. Now, what that $2 million did was two things. Number one, it added legitimacy to SoleSavy, and number two, it started wetting the palates of a lot of the bigger venture capitalists out there. The funny thing about venture capital, guys, if you aren't familiar with the way that world kind of works, a lot of venture capitalists really have FOMO. Honestly, just as much FOMO as the FOMO that drives the resale complex, which is interesting because the very thing that they're going against is the very thing that they're depending on to get investments in their company, FOMO. And it worked for a lot of people. A lot of people were starting to get very intrigued by SoleSavy and by what they were doing. Not only that, but according to their presentation, they were gaining a lot of members and making a lot of money. So after they raised the $2 million in their seed round, they started bringing in a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of really famous names, again, to add more legitimacy into the company. They started adding huge names that promised to deliver on some exciting new developments for the community of SoleSavy. They got super influencers like Ana Bediones to head up the women's side of SoleSavy. They got people like Marco to leave his job at Jordan Brand. They got a guy from the Los Angeles Lakers to come over there. They got a lot of different people from Complex. A lot of different people were coming into SoleSavy at that point, and I'm sure they were writing some pretty nice checks to bring those people on board. But as they were able to bring all these new names into this community, that made it even more legitimate. Not only that, but with content being one of the legs of SoleSavy, they built out the SoleSavy podcast that still runs every week, I believe, and they built out a lot of articles. I myself was actually featured in an article that's currently on SoleSavy. You can see my picture right next to Jacques. So they brought a lot of new people in to build out all these different arms. Engineering people to build up the Slack group, content people to get video popping off, and then of course building out an e-commerce platform that we'll also talk about a little bit later. So that's currently where SoleSavy is. They just closed a $12.5 million round of funding that was led by a company called Bedrock Capital. If you have no clue what Bedrock Capital is, or Jeff Lewis, the guy that's behind that company, it's for good reason. It's because Jeff doesn't know anything and he's not involved in sneakers at all, but he likes money. By now, we've probably all seen that very, very cringe-worthy video of Jeff Lewis announcing the $12.5 million round of funding from his company Bedrock Capital while he was holding a Jordan 1 in his hand that looked like he was about to eat it like a taco. Hey guys, don't you guys care a lot about these sneakers? Aren't they amazing? This is how we're doing to take down the resale marketplace and complex these days. This is ridiculous and we're waging war against it. Come join SoleSavy. So with all these amazing people in place, these power players that were getting paid, I'm sure, a nice amount of money to come and join the SoleSavy team, I'm thinking to myself, interesting. Okay, well, let's see if they're really solving the problem that they claim they want to solve. So I signed up. Now, the first thing that was interesting about when I signed up is that even though they're supposed to have a wait list for people that want to join SoleSavy, I actually got an email that said, if you respond back to this email and tell us why you think you would be a good member for SoleSavy, you can actually bypass the line and we'll let you in right now. So I responded and I said, you know, I've seen some things that the community is doing. It'd be interesting to take a further look. And I was in. So once I got into the Slack, I noticed two things right off the bat. Number one, the staff of SoleSavy is incredibly active on there. They're constantly checking in, asking, how are you doing? Can we help you with anything? If you need any help, go here. If you need training, go there. If you need a tutorial, go there. We have this going on, that going on. They're very, very active on there. And the second thing that I noticed was that I didn't recognize really any of the members that were in there. And that's not to say that I know everybody in the sneaker community. I definitely don't. But I just found it interesting that a lot of the people that were in there and the way that they were talking, I could tell that there were more passive sneakerheads, people that were interested in just getting maybe a pair here or a pair there. They weren't hardcore enthusiasts. They weren't hardcore collectors. There were people that just generally just like sneakers and like talking about sneakers, and there's nothing wrong with that. So basically the way that SoleSavy works is there's talking channels and then there's what I call action channels. The action channels are channels like monitors that actually generate links that they populate on there that are either restocks of certain product or they're links that you can use on release day to try to secure a pair of shoes for yourself. Now, I'm familiar with the way these monitors work because I've been in a number of Discords before that use the same technology as well. And so I'm familiar with the way that it works. But if you're not familiar with it, then it could seem very intriguing and honestly really seem like they can give you a major leg up. That is until release day comes and you realize you still can't get the shoe. A lot of Discords use monitors, and there are different monitors out there. There's Zephyr monitors that I believe is one of the most popular ones and one of the fastest monitors. I don't know what monitor SoleSavy uses behind the scenes. It might be proprietary. It might be something that they're building themselves. I don't know. But what I do know is that it's interesting because during all the pitches that I watched, Dion actually sang the praises of Shopify a lot of times, saying that sites like Foot Locker were pretty much impossible to get into, but SoleSavy is here to basically help you get sneakers off of any Shopify website. I found that to be kind of bogus because Shopify seems to be hit the hardest by a lot of bots out here these days. But then I took a little deeper look. According to the Private Capital Journal that actually talks a little bit about SoleSavy securing this $12.5 million Series A funding, there were some very interesting investors in this. People like Diplo and Young Gravy, the rapper, different venture capital firms. But one person really stuck out to me, and that's Harley Finkelstein or Harley Finkelstein. And if you guys don't know who that is, that's the president of Shopify. The president of Shopify is an investor in SoleSavy. Now, I don't know if that means that Shopify and SoleSavy are gonna be working hand in hand to maybe give their members some kind of leg up on all of their websites or some kind of vulnerability that they can use. I don't think so, but what that does mean is that it makes a lot of sense why on all of that media blitzing I saw Dion doing, he was saying that Shopify is great. Shopify uses anti-bot protection that stops all the bots in their tracks. And it dawned on me that this was what was going into the pitch to get all of these venture capitalists. And in my opinion, that was one big finesse, because if you know, like I know, bots are eating through Shopify every day. But the members of SoleSavy don't really know that, and the venture capitalists that are investing this money don't really know that either. So in the monitor channels, what you're seeing are a lot of pre-cart links. And if you guys aren't really familiar with that, basically what'll pop up is a screen that has all these different sizes on it, and what they have are these generated checkout links that already have a certain product in a certain size in a cart. So all you have to do is click that link and go directly to the website and check out in your size. It seems fantastic, and it seems like exactly what people who have been missing out on sneakers are going to need. Again, the only problem is that bots have those exact same links, and they move a lot faster. So what I started to see amongst different people that were DMing me privately, and not really in the community, because they actually do a very good job of kicking you out if they feel like you're violating their terms of service, which pretty much means complaining in almost any way when it comes to the way that SoleSavy works. But a lot of people that wanted to remain anonymous said that SoleSavy was a waste of their money, because remember, no matter if you get a shoe or you don't get a shoe, you're still paying that $33 every single month, and that's helping their bottom line and it's helping their pitch decks, but it's not helping the customers and the consumers. Not only that, but I'm gonna tell you one thing that really did rub me the wrong way about SoleSavy was the fact that in his pitch deck, Dion mentioned the fact that the customers within SoleSavy were so loyal that they paid $600 for the custom SS1 Air Jordan High SoleSavy members only shoes. Now, these custom made shoes were made by Garrickson Studios, and if you guys know anything about Garrickson uses very quality materials to make very high quality sneakers at a very, very high price. But that bothered me for two reasons. Number one, he was using that as a means to make it seem like the SoleSavy customers were so blindly loyal and brainwashed into SoleSavy that they're willing to spend any amount of money on a shoe with the SoleSavy name on it to make himself look better to venture capitalists. And number two, I thought that the entire ethos of SoleSavy was to be against paying resale prices for shoes, but they're making these sneakers in conjunction with Garrickson for $600 for a Jordan 1, which to me is a resale price. If I'm gonna spend $600 on a sneaker, I might as well spend that same $600 on a real Jordan 1 that I really wanted, but that's just me. I don't know anything that I love so much that I'm paying $600 for their merchandise. Not only that, but SoleSavy recently doubled down and made another bespoke, the SS2, that costs another $550. So if you bought the SS1 and the SS2, you just spent $1,150 for shoes from SoleSavy? that you can't sell? Which brings me into the commerce section of SoleSavy. So we've talked a little bit about the community and kind of what the community is comprised of and what that looks like. We've also talked a little bit about the content. They have the podcast, they have articles, they have a lot of that type of stuff. Sometimes they'll do live webcasts and things like that for training sessions about how to make sure that you're using your add to cart links correctly and all that other type of stuff. They're doing all of the right things to build out a community for unsuspecting people that are none the wiser. But the commerce portion is where I bring back some of my other points that I made at the very beginning of this video. So they have a members only store that offers certain products, and you have to enter using a password that they give out and kind of change every so often for people that are probably leaving SoleSavy that they don't want to have access to the members only store. And they have certain general release sneakers, mainly Nike, that are offered for retail prices. They offered shoes that have maybe a little bit of hype on them and maybe are worth maybe 50, 60 bucks over retail on the resale market. Nothing crazy or out of control, but you could probably get an Air Jordan 1 Low neutral gray or maybe a Georgetown Jordan 3 or something like that out of the member store for about retail price. But here's the kicker. The first thing I noticed about their retail store is that they offer these shoes pretty much at retail with a little bit of shipping, but they also make you pay a 3% credit card fee. Now, the reason why that's interesting is because the only other platforms that I see do that are resale platforms like StockX and Go. They make you foot the bill for the credit card fees. But again, I find that very interesting because bigger stores that you only pay retail price through usually don't charge you that 3%. Then it dawned on me, where in the world are they getting size runs or even small size runs of these sneakers? Oh yeah, the guy that's the founder, that was the director of operations for New Age Sports, DBA Nike, with the family member that's also director of operations for Nike Vancouver, with a dad that owns a company that oversees all these Nike stores. They're getting these shoes for wholesale. But if you're getting a shoe at wholesale pricing, or maybe just a tad over wholesale pricing, but selling to your customers for retail price, isn't that reselling? Or maybe the members just aren't supposed to know exactly where they're securing this product from. Maybe the members are just supposed to be happy with the fact that no matter where they got the shoes from, they're able to buy them at retail price. And I guess I understand that, but for somebody like me that looks behind the scenes, it just seems a little shady, but that's just me. Now, in addition to the commerce kind of blending into the community, what I also noticed is that they tend to highlight a lot of people that do what they call alley-oops for a lot of people, a lot of retail oops. People that will look out for somebody with a sneaker that they may not have been able to get their hands on, but somebody else within the community will help them out at retail price, no reselling allowed, with that shoe that they wanted. But you know what I noticed? You never really see any retail oops for sneakers that are worth more than maybe $75 to possibly $100 on the resale market. I didn't see one alley-oop for retail price in anywhere in SoleSavy for either one of the Union Air Jordan 4s or any of the other hyped up sneakers that have been coming out lately. And I think that that's for two reasons. Number one, a lot of people in the community just don't have the wherewithal to still be able to secure certain sneakers like that. And number two, I think a lot of people still have a little reseller in them. I don't care how close you are. I don't care how good of friends you are with anybody out here. Once a sneaker is worth a certain amount of money on the resale market, you're gonna make your money. Which to me kind of defeats the purpose of the community, because some of the most highly sought after sneakers still don't get the love and don't get utilized the way that they promise they'll get utilized. But then again, maybe that's not the targeted demographic of SoleSavy. Maybe the targeted demographic of SoleSavy was the person that wanted the white Oreo Jordan 4, and maybe they were having a hard time getting their hands on it, and they're paying SoleSavy every month to be able to maybe get their hands on a pair. But here's a funny thing about shoes like the Oreo Jordan 4 or a lot of other sneakers out here. A lot of the sneakers that you're able to secure within SoleSavy for the price that you're paying SoleSavy in membership every month, you can just literally buy the sneaker at resale price. So you're still paying resale, you're just splitting your resale money between your membership fee and the price that you pay for the shoe. You didn't pay $200 retail price for this sneaker, or $220 depending on where you got the shoe from. You really paid $253 for the shoe because you paid $33 a month for your membership to SoleSavy for the ability to get the shoe. If the Sneakers app charged everybody $5 a month to be able to use the Sneakers app, but promised that you would have a little better chance at getting sneakers, or you felt like you would because you had to pay for it now, would you sign up or would you not? Sound off, let me know. That's pretty much what SoleSavy is doing, but they're doing it in the name of also creating a community of people that can gather without the trolling and things like that that happen on somewhere like Twitter. But again, I guess that's my rub, because Twitter is a large community of enthusiastic sneakerheads, and you can use that for free. All you have to do is follow SoleLinks, J23 app, and Sneaker Twitter, and you can pretty much get all of the same alerts for raffles and a lot of sneakers as they pop up that you get from SoleSavy. You throw in a $5 subscription to the Soul Retriever app for raffles, which, by the way, in the Slack channel for raffles, SoleSavy actually uses Soul Retriever, and you literally see Soul Retriever on the raffle channel. You can just spend $5 a month to just go get Soul Retriever for yourself. Or you can pay $33 a month to use the same service for raffles. So that leads me to kind of my final piece to talk about here. Where is SoleSavy going? What are they trying to do? And I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of maybe insider information. Hopefully it's not too insider, because a lot of this stuff I think they've already talked about on a public platform. But the direction that SoleSavy is going is that they eventually want to get to an IPO. Now, the way that they get to an IPO, which literally means that they sell shares on the stock market, the way they get that is that they want to have $100 million in what they call ARR. That's annual recurring revenue. That's people that have signed up for the $300 annual plan that's money in the bank for SoleSavy. If they get enough people where they can get $100 million worth of people that are signed up, they want to take an IPO, and they want to actually release stock for a stock price on the stock market. Now, the way they do that is by two ways. Number one, they're getting members that are accumulating what they call MRR, monthly recurring revenue. So those are people that haven't locked into the annual pricing, but they're calculating how many members they have and how many people paid that $33 a month every single month, and they're using that in future pitch decks to get more funding and to actually prove the worth of SoleSavy even more. They've also mentioned that they're going to build out their own buy, sell, trade marketplace. Now, that's interesting, because I'm wondering, will this be a retail only buy, sell, trade marketplace? Because using something like trading sneakers back and forth is very interesting in a community like SoleSavy. Trades are generally based on market value of sneakers, but if resale is not allowed, and if SoleSavy is against the resale complex, why would you incorporate trading sneakers into your platform that you literally have to use something like StockX to gauge the market value to see if you're getting a fair trade? I'm pretty sure that as honest and amazing as the SoleSavy community is, nobody would trade a Union Jordan 4 Taupe Haze for an all-white Air Force One, because that person has a really incredible story about how they gotta have that Air Force One, so they gave up their Taupe Haze Jordan 4s. It's never gonna happen. So for anybody watching this that may be from SoleSavy, it's very interesting that you're firmly against the resale complex when you need the resale complex to fuel your own marketplaces that you're trying to build out. Without something like StockX that gives you a reference point and your community members a reference point for a fair deal or a fair trade, you would not be able to build out a buy, sell, trade marketplace. On top of that, that already exists as well. You have TradeBlock that's used as a primary source right now for trading sneakers, and it does not cost you $33 a month to use it. For the life of me, I don't know why SoleSavy just didn't buy TradeBlock, just acquire the company and maybe incorporate that into what they're doing, but I have my own reasons for that as well, but I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, so I'll leave that alone too. But that's pretty much where they're trying to head at this point. They're trying to leverage their customers and their community into making major dollars for themselves and the venture capitalists that are backing their companies. This is a money play, guys, and if you guys didn't realize it, this is a huge money play for Dion, for Justin, and for all the people that are behind the scenes at SoleSavy, because I guarantee you that when those people, those big names that were brought on board from their old jobs, the pitch that they probably got pitched from Dion was that we're about to make a whole lot of money. You're gonna wanna get on this train because this thing is already moving in a serious direction. So if I were you, I would leave my job, come over here and make a whole lot of money with us. Shoot, I'll be honest with you, if it were me, if I came over, I'd want some equity in the company, because once that company goes public, everybody's cashing out. And I guarantee you a lot of those people that signed on to SoleSavy are gonna cash out because they got a little bit of equity in the company as well. But you're not supposed to know that, because when you guys see them talking, they're only gonna talk about how amazing the SoleSavy community is, and their name is big enough that they're supposed to be trustworthy enough that you just trust their word that they're looking out for your best interests, not their own. Sneakers are a cold game out here, and I honestly didn't see anybody being able to squeeze any more money out of sneakers after StockX and Goat and some other platforms that exist out here. But somehow SoleSavy was able to squeeze millions of dollars from unsuspecting venture capitalists and in my opinion, a lot of unsuspecting community members to make a whole lot of money, even during a pandemic and even during a time where people are taking massive L's. The SoleSavy business model is genius because they take your money, but they promise you nothing. It's like a casino. Whether or not you win or lose doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is securing your $33 or your $300, and they're gonna do that by building out an ecosystem around the fact that you're taking L's on sneakers to keep you engaged and to keep you feeling like you're getting a little closer and a little closer and a little closer to getting that W and beating the bots and the resellers out here. And I'm not gonna lie, there's some pretty good salesmen. They've been able to secure millions of dollars using that protocol. So I'm not mad at it, but that's just because I never knocked the hustle. Now, I've actually spoken with Dion myself, and he's not a bad guy, and I don't want you guys to think that he's a bad guy. He's just a shrewd businessman. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I just want you guys' eyes to be open to what exactly SoleSavy is and who exactly SoleSavy is for. And I think that I'll close this video answering that question. SoleSavy is a community for people that really are passive sneaker enthusiasts. They're not super involved with sneakers. They're not going hard body for every release out there. They maybe buy 1 to 2 pairs of sneakers a month, and they just want a way to not only feel like they're a part of a community, because a lot of social media is a lot of people just wanting more friends out here and wanting to feel like they have friends. And this helps people who don't really have experience with using monitors, using Discords and things like that. It actually gives them this kind of psychological feeling of empowerment that now they have these super secret tools that only the botters and the highest level resellers were able to use, but without realizing it, those tools are pretty common and they're pretty useless unless you have some very powerful machinery behind it also being utilized as well. See, that's the piece that's missing from SoleSavy. It's the piece that drives the bots and the resellers to be able to get the sneakers. It's the servers, it's the bots themselves. Having the links and the checkout links is one thing, but what a lot of communities of SoleSavy don't realize is that they're still missing that other piece. And in every pitch that I saw of SoleSavy, nobody ever asked a question about bots. Now, one thing I did notice within the Slack community is that it's been said that they're working on something that's going to stop bots, but that may be some time out. We don't know how long that's gonna take, but you guys can keep paying your $33 a month while they're trying to figure it out. Do I feel like SoleSavy is a bit of a finesse? Yeah, I feel like it's finessing a lot of people out of their money by selling a lot of hope out here. And honestly, selling hope is big business. That's why self-help books are so profitable these days. But if I had a chance to sit down with Dion or do one of those live streams with him, I'm not a big enough YouTuber to be able to do that. I would actually suggest a few things to implement into SoleSavy, like having a botter behind the scenes. And I would actually start doing slots for members within SoleSavy using a powerful botter. You got $12.5 million. You guys can afford the most powerful botter and servers on the market. So I would have a really savvy botter out there that knows exactly what they were doing. I would use the most powerful bots, and I would Robin Hood my way through sneakers in SoleSavy, buying up all the pairs of sneakers using this powerful botter out here and then distributing them at retail price to the people within the community. If you want to get to $100 million for your ARR, that's the way that you do it. You have to get these people excited, so excited about your community, and the only way you're going to get people that excited is if they start getting more W's than they're getting right now. There's a lot of people leaving SoleSavy, and the reason is because they're not getting the value for the money that they're paying. So SoleSavy is stuck in this loop of trying to get more people and new people, more new people, more new people all the time because so many people keep leaving SoleSavy. If you want people to stay, you got to incentivize them. You got to make them feel like it's worth the money. And a lot of people these days want way more value than the $33 that they're paying for your service. But that's pretty much it when it comes to SoleSavy, guys. Listen, if you're a member of SoleSavy, I'm not mad at that. If you are the type of person that SoleSavy would want to be within their community, then it's probably the place for you. And $33 a month paying that is super subjective. I can't tell you whether or not $33 a month is a good or a bad amount of money to pay, just like I can't tell you if this sneaker is worth $600 or not. It's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it, and SoleSavy is worth whatever people are willing to pay for it. So it's your money, but I just want you guys to be smart out here and to understand that joining SoleSavy is probably not going to improve your chances very much of being able to get the sneakers that you want. If you guys follow certain Twitter accounts that are free, or engage more on a platform like that, which is free, or just sign up for something like Soul Retriever for all your raffles for $5 a month, you're probably gonna get about the same amount of success that you're probably gonna get within SoleSavy, just with some training videos and some cool looking articles included in the mix as well. Also, if you wanna be a part of a community and have something that feels like it's exclusive, maybe that's also worth it to you as well to be a part of SoleSavy. Now, I also know that SoleSavy is working on some things like maybe a branded Visa or MasterCard or something like that. They're probably going to build this thing up to the point where they're gonna want you to wanna be a member so bad that you go ahead and sign up for it. So all the members have their SoleSavy credit cards and debit cards, or their SoleSavy knickknacks and paddywhacks, whatever they wanna brand or license out next, who knows? But if you think that you're gonna join SoleSavy and start getting your hands on sneakers like this, think again, because chances are it's probably not gonna happen any more than the chances that you would have of just getting them yourself. All right, guys, that's pretty much all that I gotta say about SoleSavy for today. Now it's time for you guys to sound off in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about SoleSavy. Are you a part of the community? Are you currently in it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Did you jump out? Why? Or what are your current feelings about it? Sound off down below. I'm really interested to hear you guys' thoughts about it. Of course, while you're down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the SneakerPhetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. As always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on SneakerPhetish, talking with me, dialoguing with me for a few minutes. I apologize if this was a long one, but I had a lot to say. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Until next time, I go by the name of Kari. These are the Union Air Jordan 4s. Hopefully you got a pair. And until next time, I'm out.